It's been a while, but we're back.
We're back again.
Back again. You know, I wish that I could say I was excited to talk about this season.
What's up, everybody? My name's Josh,
And my name's Nick.
and we're here to give you
A reality check. You know, you need one. Episode 11, Survivor, season 48. We have 7 people left in the game. And, you know, they're all giving...
What are they giving? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I hope you're hungry for nothing. So we're going to do our best to discuss what a wild roller coaster this season has been. And I don't want to shit on it. I don't want to completely shit on it because there have been some very great moments in this season that I've really connected with. We even got a really nice moment at this tribal, which we'll get into. As far as like, I would say like entertainment value,
it's not there. To be completely, I just think that they are diving way too far deep down this Joe Eva situation that they have gotten into a hole where I fear we may not be able to recover. Like at this point, as a viewer, you can't tell me that you don't think that they're just throwing the alley-oop for Joe or Eva to get the win. And I don't like that. Number one, I'm Team Kyle, but number two, it's not as exciting. Like it just kind of takes away a little bit from the game because I feel like we're just so focused on Eva having power and Joe being her right hand, like them being with each other. And I mean, we'll dive all into the knowledge is power situation and all of that later on in the episode, but I just don't like where we're going right now.
Yeah, I don't like where we're going. I miss where we've been. I will say since the merged portion of the game, there's been quite a slowing of the game. Quite the tough natured. It's hard as a viewer. If you are a fan of reality competition TV, you are in the right place. So grab a snack and grab a seat because we're your new best friends and we're here to break down all of that reality TV tea and keep you in the know. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you know when we are talking about your favorite reality TV, honey, okay? Now, let's get back into Survivor 48 because Mary hits the ground running.
But honestly, Mary, as you fucking should, Mary. No, as you fucking should. Because why are we just going to let this alliance continue? Like, flip, yo. Why? What is going on? Like,
baby, these pancakes, they needed to be flipped a long time ago. They're burnt on one side, okay? You know what? Kudos to her. It was hard to watch this episode, honestly, because not that I've ever played Survivor, but I can only imagine that feeling of, like, helplessness that Mary is experiencing in this moment where, like, all of her gameplay is just not being received. Like, nobody is giving her that, like, no, we can't do that. You know, like nobody's giving her that wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Which is crazy because this is the legit perfect opportunity for somebody in her position, not even just her position, in the position of her, Camilla, Mitch, Shaheen, Kyle, any of those.
Everybody that's not Joe and Eva.
Literally anybody who is not Joe and Eva.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I really just don't get it.
I want to know your opinion. I call this, in this case, I want to call it like man syndrome. Joe, Kyle, and Shaheen seem to have a little bit of this man syndrome of like, well, I want to bring the best competitors to the end and beat the best because then I'll feel like I really won. I've seen this a lot. We've seen it in Big Brother. We've seen it in Drag Race. We've seen it in Survivor. We have seen it in The Challenge. All of these people with this man syndrome, this superiority complex to get to the end. Baby, if I knocked you out week 3, I already beat you, honey. So you weren't the best.
No, my thought on that is I am bringing to the end who I'm going to win that prize. If I was anybody on that island right now, I am taking out Joe and Eva because I know that they are going to be a threat to me winning the $1 million. I'm thinking one of two things, actually. I'm thinking we need to get them out right now so at least we have a chance to get the $1 million over them. Or 2, let me bring them to the end and then try to jury bomb them and put them against each other and make me be the shining star. The chances of that second option happening most likely
it's more likely.
Well, it's more than likely, but I feel like it's you know, in this kind of situation, at that point,
It's
one
the
of the
best
two
bet.
are gonna like something's gonna go down somewhere along the line.
Well, here's the crazy thing, because I just want to get into the strategy of the episode. We all saw the episode. We normally follow a very strict kind of storyline here. We follow the episode. But while we're talking about it, I just want to get into it, because if you want to play this game and you want to think about that final tribal right now, Eva has the safety without power and an immunity idol.
Yeah.
Now, let's say next
week. She's protected by basically all the guys.
Well, even without that, let's say next week Mary's gone. So let's say next week Eva and Joe both don't win immunity. Fine. Eva still plays her safety without power and gives the idol to Joe. So it's still between Shaheen, Kyle, and Camilla. Okay, fine. There's got to be another route. Let's say Joe wins immunity. Boom. Okay, Eva plays the idol. Well, they're both safe. Okay, let's say Eva wins it. She still gives the idol to Joe. Safety without power just goes to waste. The both of them are in 5, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know, so I really do feel like they missed their shot this week. We'll break it down a little bit more with Mary's kind of pitch, which we get the morning after too, because she gets this edit of almost looking like she's desperate, but I don't even think that's fair, honestly.
No, because she was giving Camilla the elbows. She was like, girl,
you're like,
Joe, hello, what are you doing?
Like, sister.
And I need to give her flowers, because like at the end of the day, like Mary's the only person right now. And backing this up, a few episodes ago, Mary was not about it. She was for the alliance. She was like, I'm going to be with them. We're getting to the end. And now she's like really looking at herself and going, wow, if I'm at the end with these two, I'm not winning. There's no shot in hell I am getting that. I'm going to win Final Tribal Council. So
I'm going to say it right now. If Joe and Eva are in the final 3, the two of them, that third person wins.
100%.
Because they're all going to be so pissed off about this loyalty final 2. And if we're really talking about it, what have the two of them done besides get to the end together? Nothing. They built an alliance, sure, that took them there. But what did that alliance ever accomplish besides just ganging up on the next target? Joe, sure, he has a few immunity challenge wins, which is impressive. That usually plays into the outplay portion of the tribal. But, like, they didn't make any wild strategic decisions. They didn't really, like, have any massive moments where they worked as an alliance other than just voting the same way.
Yeah, there wasn't any crazy blindsides or anything along those lines.
Which you could argue.
That's honestly a really good point to make, because when they are, I don't want to say when they are, because that's really manifesting that they're going to be there, but realistically,
we can change it now, honey. It's recorded, it's edited, it just hit post, mama. You know, like we can't do nothing about. I can sit here with my candles, like, and nothing's gonna change.
I really hope that there's a shift up somewhere. I can't have. What have they done? They have, to your exact point, they haven't done anything except for win an immunity idol.
And my problem is, what is the move to make now? Because what do you make Eva feel so comfortable that she doesn't use an immunity without like a safety without power, just so she can say she brought it to the end and then you blindside her? That's really the only way that I can see one of the two of them not being on the jury, because you know that she's going to be like, if Joe doesn't win immunity, it's going to be like, Joe, here, boom. So, you know, unless they really just goat her into being, am I boring you? There is one moment I wanted to talk about with Kyle.
Oh.
And it's this moment of we've developed a connection versus this would propel me further in the game. And I go back and forth on it. We talk about this a lot in our personal lives too, because we really are, and I would say probably me more than you, so empathetic towards people. We make connections quickly. Like we were at the bar this weekend, we made 3 new best friends, you know? So like we make connections so quick, and these connections that you're making are basically trauma bonding at this point on the island. You're starving, you're hungry, you're cold, you're somewhere new. People could argue that the reason these people get so close is because they're trauma bonding. And we see that with Kyle, that he is struggling with the idea of voting out these people with whom he's bonded so quickly, even though
Joe.
Specifically Joe, because there's been a lot shared between the two of them on a personal level, but getting out Joe is a clear path to $1 million.
Which is such a difficult, I can only imagine how difficult it is on the island, because as a viewer, it's like, dang, like I really, 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 really want Kyle to take out Joe, because I know him taking out Joe is going to significantly increase his chances of winning $1 million.
Well, we even see Kyle say that. He's like, taking myself out of the game and watching it, Joe is a clear front runner. He acknowledged it. I'm like, ooh, like it's made so clear to us as a viewer, obviously, who the edit is favoring, who's doing well. We see every conversation, whereas they don't on the island, to your point. So it is tough, but like there has to be an ounce of self-awareness. Kyle's a smart guy. He's an attorney. Like there has to be an ounce of self-awareness to be like, and especially with Kyle, getting out Joe, I would say Kyle is the one person that opens up a direct line to $1 million.
Yes. Because I think the minute that Joe is gone, I was going to say the minute that Joe is gone, we have our next target on Eva, but Eva still has that idol if she doesn't win immunity, so she could sneak her way to the end with Joe gone. But
no, then it's Mitch. Boom.
That is true. That like we could have been set up to have like a Camilla. I would have loved to have seen like a potential Camilla, Mitch, Kyle final three.
Like the potential power grab that would have happened with Joe gone.
Yeah.
Like I'm imagining like this scene in a movie where like they're all climbing on top of each other to grab. Like
and it just keeps bouncing higher and higher and higher.
But you know, we got nothing. We got Eva getting out of the hammock.
The hammock and going on to this.
That was the most entertaining portion of this episode, the hammock.
I wonder why she said it like that. Like, is that a New England thing? Like, do they say hammock?
I don't know. I honestly just got so distracted by what you're saying because Mr. Softy's outside my house, honey.
I'm screaming me.
You can take the fat off the kid, but you can't take you can't take the fatty out of the kid. Honey.
Me walking 3 miles today and getting a Mr. Softy waffle cone with Oreo topping. Yes.
Mr. Softy for Survivor 49. Honey.
Yeah. Okay. Come on now. So we get Eva on this journey. She gets there and her
not only we can scream rigs, they're giving Eva advantages, they're making it in her, but she picked a rock.
Yeah.
She picked first.
Yeah.
You know, so the universe is really just like lining things up for Miss Eva.
She gets there and the challenge that she has to do is she flips over a timer and she has to use her foot to turn this little turning table, and she has to place what are the thick little cards and she has to build.
Turning tables.
I knew you were going to go turning tables, Adele. You know, and she has to use her foot. She has to stack it up, and she has to get to 4 layers to keep her vote.
Yeah.
And if she wants to have knowledge as power, she needs to go up another 4 and hit 8. We see, obviously, that Eva doesn't need knowledge as power. She already has all the power in the game. So
she barely even needs her vote at this point.
No, for real. So she decides that she's going to keep the vote. Something that we clocked after the episode was that
I wanted to ask you about this because it has been all over my Twitter.
Listen, because
like Kelly Wentworth.
I was just about to say Kelly Wentworth made a TikTok about it, so that means you know that this is Survivor tea. Listen, in the laws of Survivor, it is not over until it's over, and if Jeff was there watching, he would have revoked her vote. I don't like that she still had her vote because there was time on that timer when it fell.
Yeah.
I don't care that she stepped off. It's until the timer's done.
I don't know. Like the super fan in me and the person who is rooting for people that aren't Eva to win is like, take her vote, you know, like it said it on the paper, you know, like I'm with my pitchfork and my torches.
Yeah.
But the logical person in me is like, okay, it's not even like it was a shaky 4 towers. Like she started.
It was a steady 4 towers.
It was solid. So like, what are we just going to sit there? But, you know, it is an interesting question because if that was a real challenge where Jeff was standing there and you went, boom, my 4 towers are done before the timer ran out and you knocked it over, Jeff would be like, oh, Eva loses, you know, like. So.
No, but that's the thing. He would have. And yes, if it was my favorite up there, I would have been going to bat for him. And I can acknowledge that. And I'm just not going to bat for Eva right now. That's just the tea. Yeah. That's it.
Now, I do blame at this point, I would blame production. You know,
they could have edited
they
that
let
out.
her leave. They were filming her leave. You know, so if there was an issue with it, I feel like you would have seen production step in. But then again, it's also like maybe not. I was really thinking to myself that Eva was going to go into the voting booth and have the paper. You lost your vote, and then she would have to think about it.
That would have been a gag.
You know, I was literally thinking, I was like, you know what? There's a reason that they're not talking about it. Because during the episode, I was like, wait, the timer's still going. And even my mom and my mother and I watched Survivor together. And she does not really pick up on all of the nuances of Survivor. She's like, what did the clues say? Is that an immunity idol? So she's not necessarily like as quick to pick up on the small details of the game. And even she was like, wait, the timer's still going. So I'm like, if Heather's picking up on it, that's how you know production messed up.
Yeah, they should have. They should have at least edited it out or something, regardless of.
If it was anybody but Eva, I don't think I'd be upset because
actually,
she had the chip ball.
If it was Joe, I would have still been upset.
It's just like this season of Survivor, like there is something like it's like when have you ever made cookies and you put salt instead of sugar?
Yeah. That's
what this feels like. Like it looks like a chocolate chip cookie. It looks right. They smell good.
But it doesn't taste like
a chocolate chip cookie. Then you bite it and you're like, something's off.
Something,
like
something doesn't belong
It's here. Like, I'm going to have another one just to make sure, but like, I don't know.
I don't know what ever since they voted out Say, this season hasn't been the same. I'm sorry. I'm going to clock it. Yeah. Say was holding down this season's personality and
even Cedric. At least we had somebody to giggle at during the immunity challenges. You know, like the season has been on a steady downward trend, in my opinion, entertainment value wise.
Yeah,
the people I still love. I'm still connecting with everybody on a human level this season.
It's just like the storyline doesn't have a clear cut path right now. It's like. Right. What was the objective of that?
Because there's no drama. Nobody is fighting. We have this major alliance, and the storyline is we're going to get them out until the end.
Yeah.
That's why like season 47 was so exciting, because we had characters like Andy who were in a different alliance every week. And
he was flip-flopping on, like at this point, Caroline was just blindsided. Sue was left by herself. Like, Tuku was no more, and nobody knew what the hell was going on because everybody was against each other, and there were secret alliances happening everywhere.
Yeah, Operation Italy, was twirling pasta at this point,
And here we are, everybody's kumbaya dancing in a circle and waiting for someone to get tapped out. And it's what are we doing?
And we have Eva returning from her journey being like, what was I going to use the knowledge as power advantage on myself?
No, because... Why did no one clock her for that wordage? Like, if that was anybody else, she would have unclocked.
Oh my god! I'm like,
it's true.
I'm like, shut up! Shut up!
Imagine what they would have done if Mary came back and said that. They would have been like, "Oh, you're gonna act like that? You're gonna act all cocky and nasty?"
And that's the thing. This is what's weird. This is what really baffles me. Eva returns from her journey and says that, what was I going to use the knowledge power advantage on myself and take my own idol? Because obviously this idol is public knowledge. So I think there is a little bit of credit due to Eva to kind of nullifying and trying to underplay the strength that she has an idol this late in the game by joking about it, because it's like everybody knows about it. What am I going to use it on myself? But I don't think that's what this was. I don't know what the goal is by reminding people that you have an idol.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't a fan of the wordage. I wasn't a fan of how she came off. I just keep thinking of what would have happened if that was anybody else. That's all I keep thinking about. And for some reason, like, I can't get behind the way that they just like let that skate by. Like nobody made a comment about it. Like everybody was just like, "Oh, yep,
Who's gonna say something? Her number one, Joe, Kyle and Shaheen, who she's working with, Mitch, who's clearly on the bottom, Mary, who's clearly on the bottom, Camilla, who doesn't say more than 2 words an episode,
skating by."
You know, it was just a really interesting gameplay to me.
Yeah.
For her to be like, you know, like, you know, work, diva. That, you know, work, diva.
Work, diva. Talking about working in divas, let's head on to this immunity challenge because this was just not my favorite. You have a wheelbarrow. You have
Wait. Before the immunity challenge. Before the immunity challenge, I want to talk about why this moment. A little bit more about this moment with Eva, because in my mind, they're all focusing on Joe because he's the physical threat out of the duo, which I don't even really wholeheartedly believe because Eva is also very strong. However, Eva has both advantages, which not everybody knows about the second one, but still. In my mind, everybody's so gung-ho about blindsiding Joe. Why isn't anybody thinking about if you make the girl with two advantages extremely comfortable and blindside her right before Final Five, then Joe doesn't get an idol. If he loses immunity, you vote him out of 5.
Ooh.
And now it's Camilla, Shaheen, Mitch, Kyle, some version of that 4. Mary maybe might have been thrown in there if that happened. I don't understand why everybody was so fixated on Joe when blindsiding the girl that has two advantages
makes him more,
and it would make Joe more vulnerable down the line.
Yeah.
Just something to think about that I have been fixated on since Merge.
I mean, if there's one thing about you, you just clocked a gag.
And I don't think Joe is as likable to the jury in the end. Because he pissed off Cedric, he pissed off Chrissy, he pissed off David. Like, he has burned a lot of people to get to the jury with his big macho man realness, diva, the house down boots. You know, so it's just interesting to me that they're like, I'm wondering what we're missing as an audience that makes Joe such a larger and more obvious threat to the people left, other than the fact that he's won so many immunities.
I feel like he has to be giving some kind of dad energy at camp. I don't know. Like you said, there's something that we're missing as a viewer that production is leaving out here because he's somehow he's like
the Gestapo this season. Like nobody wants to mess with him, and I don't understand. I really don't understand it, but it's not for me to understand, I guess. So we're gonna move into the immunity challenge.
Yeah. We get to this immunity challenge, and it's a little. We've seen a variation of this before, but a little bit of a twist. We have this wheelbarrow, and they have to walk on this little plank, and it's kind of small. Then they have to balance these vases, go over these little bumps, make it to the end, and then do the signature arch puzzle.
Am I boring you? Mary versus the coconut. Mary said, honey, it's going down. I'm taking it with me, mama.
I mean, no, if you were in Mary's position, are you eating the coconut or are you not?
Baby, I'm pulling a Jatia, honey. I'm burning that rice.
Burning the rice.
The rice is on the
if
bottom.
I can't have it, nobody can have it.
Because it's different. It's not even like Mary's on the bottom. It's Mary's on the bottom and she's the social pariah that no one will even discuss game with. So at that point, I'm like,
and she's not gone on food awards, where Eva and Joe have basically flip-flopped on every single food reward. Like they have all really eaten except for me.
Eva has probably gained weight being out there.
No, for real.
Like baby has been eating. She's been eating, but she hasn't eaten, honey. We've actually met Eva, and she is so sweet.
Such a sweetheart,
She's
actually.
So sweet. Why does my laptop keep moving? But
I don't know.
I don't know. There is just so much left on the table this season. Like that's how I feel. It's like there's a big buffet of food and everybody's having a salad.
Yeah.
And there's lobster, steak, dessert, and nobody's eating.
Yeah.
Like nobody is going for it. But I love this moment with Mary. I think you burn those bridges, honey. I don't care.
I mean, she already knows that she's on the bottom. She knows she's going down. She's like, if I'm going down, I might as well eat the last coconut. Like,
I do think we did see a little bit of it from Camilla being like, well, I mean, I didn't completely write you off, but this is making it a lot harder for me to want to.
Yeah.
You know, so, but it's interesting because nobody, even Camilla didn't give her that, like, let me think about it.
I mean, obviously, there's a lot that we're not seeing in the edit. I'm thinking
Yeah.
that maybe that Mary has some kind of understanding that Camilla has that secret alliance with Kyle. I feel like there has to be a little bit more gameplay because I feel like at this moment, us that viewers have kind of seen Mary. I don't want to say give up, but for lack of a better term, like I feel like she's kind of gave up at this point. She's like, you know what? If I'm going down, I'm really just gonna say screw all of you guys and take what I can for myself, regardless that she's gonna be eating that night. I'm eating a last coconut, and y'all can starve.
Well, that's the thing too. We have an immunity challenge today, honey. Like I better fuel up. It's my only chance. You know, like I'm gonna make sure that I can, walk. I need to be fueled. So I totally understand where she's coming from. I mean, Mary was really dealt a rough deck this season.
Yeah,
being hunted like prey by Say.
Her tribe, her original tribe, literally not having flint and steel for like her first week and a half.
As she is the last Vula member, she's kind of carrying that torch forward for the whole rest of her tribe that was eliminated in the first 5 minutes of the season. So, it's tough to see her be put in such a bad spot again and feel like again the people that she's on the island with are just refusing to work with her.
Yeah. But talking about again, we're going on a journey, and right before we go to the immunity challenge, we have a journey, and lo and behold, again, Eva gets to go on this journey and has the opportunity to get another advantage in this game.
My fire alarm's going off.
The balance of two vases on their wheelbarrow, and they have to go over these little humps. And once we get over the humps, they have to do the famous arch puzzle this season, which I forget the word. I think it's unforgettable. I think that was the word. Yeah, the word was unforgettable. But there also were these two little pieces on the start and end that had to match the colors on both sides. So, as we see with this infamous puzzle, which is a lot harder with just one, because in the previous seasons, we've been having this puzzle with the tribes. So we've been having this a little bit earlier in the season. So now that they're by themselves, they're really trying to have to hold those puzzles up strategically and make sure that they're getting the words on both sides with some close calls, some, last minute falls with some of our castaways. We had a showdown really between Camilla and Joe. They both finished their puzzle at the same time, but unfortunately, Joe had those little two blocks on the corners flipped. He had the white on the black and the black on the white. So our girl Camilla came out with the immunity win. Nick, what did you think when you saw Camilla and Joe going against each other head to head?
Okay, so this is funny. This challenge, I actually like this immunity challenge because it was a little different than we've seen recently. There was a new element with the wheelbarrows, so I thought it was cool. I like when they do different things. I recently was rewatching some of the old seasons of Survivor, and the challenges used to be so freaking cool, dude. Like, I just, regardless of that fact. However, this challenge, when they walked up, there was something in my soul. I looked over at my mom and I said, I don't know why. Camilla's gonna win this. I literally said, I want Camilla to win this challenge. And because I felt like it was going to give her the confidence to blindside Joe if she had the necklace. And we're watching it. She's doing it. And he calls Joe, and I'm like, oh. I was like, damn, I was close. Camilla was close. She was doing good, whatever. And then he's like, no. And I was like, this is my Super Bowl. This is, it was so good, baby. Gotfunbetrale. No, you don't. Nobody on this season's got betrayal. We've heard more discussions of milk than blindsides this season.
That is true. That is true.
It was good. I liked this. I thought it was a good challenge. It was dynamic. Poor Mary couldn't even get over that last hump.
I know. I felt
she was stuck on that wheelbarrow.
I wrote down in the middle of the challenge. I don't know if you saw this, but Mary tried to sneak her fall. She had fell off and had a foot touch the sand, and she tried to stand back up quick.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, then Joe was like, Mary, you better go start over, get back to the beginning and do that again. So yeah.
It was interesting. I mean, watching everybody try to spell and figure out words, all I wrote down was Mitch is definitely a gym teacher. Maybe he ain't teaching English, honey. He's not teaching English.
Listen,
oh my goodness.
Okay,
it was interesting. I liked it. I was so happy that Camilla won. I love that Joe didn't have the necklace because as a viewer, I felt like we were getting set up for this massive Joe blindside. We had all the talks of the strategy. Then he didn't win immunity.
I was honestly at this point in the episode, once Camilla got her immunity necklace and we went back to camp life, I'm not even joking. I was like, wait, what is actually happening right now?
I was like, Joe's going home.
I was like, Joe's going home, but then there's a lot of talk, and Mary's still in the bottom, and like, where's Mitch right now? Like, what is like literally what was going on?
And in the midst of all of that, we have a reward in which Camilla chooses Eva and Mitch.
Which, like, Mitch, I understand.
At first, I'll be honest, I was a hater. I think I texted you, and I was like, what are those reward picks?
Yeah.
Because I was like, what the actual F is Camilla thinking? Eva's going again to eat food. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, Mitch, good. Talk about the plan. But then Camilla kind of described a little bit about why she took Eva, because she wanted to keep Joe and Eva separated.
Yeah.
So at least for the time being, it might have given Mary an opportunity to put in some work with the other guys. And I was like, okay, keep them separated so then they can't like work together to keep everybody locked down. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, whatever. I think I still would have maybe picked Kyle,
That's what I'm thinking too. My only, like, I don't know, because I see both sides. Like, if I was Kyle, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I would have been pissed, especially because nobody knows that you guys have an alliance. Yeah. So I'm thinking maybe you should have done Kyle and Joe, because at least you're separating Eva. You have your number one. You know that Joe and Kyle have a good relationship. This is your perfect opportunity to try to build something with Joe, with Kyle being able to go to bat for you.
Yeah.
Granted, she was still...
Or even make Joe feel comfortable and then blindside him.
Listen, these are moments where I'm like, dang, like being on the island, the things that I would do, and... as they always say, you never know what's going to happen until you're there. I wish we could have a little chat with Camilla before she made this decision and be like, girl, think about it like this for a little bit. But that's the beauty of Survivor.
In my opinion, I think that the tipping point for them keeping Joe was Mary's behavior the last few hours and days that she was there. I think that she made herself look kind of unworkable,
she wrote herself.
Yeah, she made herself look very like undesirable in the end, which is unfortunate because it could have been iconic. But speaking of moments that were unfortunate and kind of creepy, we get Shaheen in this hammock. The hammock. Shaheen's in the hammock and he's singing. Again, Shaheen loves a good song. The singer of the season. And I don't even remember what he was singing. I just remember that they put like some kind of creepy piano behind it. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm about to get I feel like I'm about to be hexed. Like, I'm like, what is this? The stuff that they are choosing to keep in this season is so it's so mind-boggling to me. Also, why wasn't Mary looking for an idol?
Why hasn't anybody looked for an idol?
Why isn't anybody looking for idols?
Because the idol that Eva has is the idol from pre-merge from Star. Therefore, that the merge idol is still out there somewhere. Nobody has it.
Yeah, and
did Mitch ever use it? Oh yeah, he did. Never mind.
Yeah.
Let me eat that back.
Yeah, you know what I would love is at the end of the season, I want the production team to go out there because there's a team, an idol hiding team that they have. They've posted about them on TikTok. It's actually really interesting. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on the Survivor CBS social media. I want them to go and make a video, filming after everybody leaves, filming where all of the unclaimed advantages were. We hid this under the water well on day 14, and nobody grabbed it. So I would love to see a video like that of the peekaboos of you missed this one, But it's interesting to me, if I'm Mary, I'm scrambling. I'm looking for idols. I'm trying to stir some shit up, you know? And we saw how much she got under Joe's skin simply by getting up out of the bamboo hut, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's like a fire missing this season.
I just wish that there was more. We got more banter and more of the drama between like Mary maybe potentially trying to sway over like a Mitch and Camilla. I feel like there's a lot of dialogue and conversation. I genuinely am convinced that there probably was some really piping hot tea and they're just leaving it out.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that like they all were just like, okay, well, I guess this is what it is. You know, like I refuse. Could that be the chance where they're just, you know, picking off the bottom one by one? Yeah, but I don't know. There has to. Maybe it's just the fan in me, like having hope, you know, that
I just don't believe that.
drama.
Yeah, I just can't believe that Mary only approached each of them one time.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw. Like, I just don't believe that. I don't believe that she was not working harder than we saw. I mean, and we even see her get Joe off of his game when she goes, Joe, I'm going to vote for you tonight.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, so it was interesting to see Joe kind of spiral out and everybody be like, dude, it's fine. I thought they were doing that because they were going to blindside him, but they were telling him that in earnest truth, which I was like, brother. But did Mary use her shot in the dark?
Yeah, Mary didn't have a shot in the dark.
That's why she didn't use it. So yeah, so she couldn't use a shot in the dark. So she doesn't have that. She didn't look for an idol.
She literally just let her fate be sealed.
Yeah. And it was tough because you could see that she was struggling with this idea of just kind of helplessness. And I read a few articles about her exit interview, and I saw a video today of her exit interview, and she was saying that she kind of had to gaslight herself into telling herself that she was having a good time. She was like, after I left the game and I realized I was doing that, like had to do these kind of mental gymnastics, I was miserable. I never had anybody to really work with. Everybody that I did work with went home, and nobody really wanted to play the game. So I was just out there starving, waiting to be voted off. I can only imagine how frustrating that must be, because it's like you're out there to play and, you know, you feel like you're out there with mom and dad who are just like, you're going next. Done.
No, for real. Because a part of this game is blindsiding people and backstabbing people and putting people in uncomfortable positions where you try to mentally, I don't want to say mentally manipulate them to try to.
And that's what the whole game is. You got to manipulate.
Yeah, I mean,
you
got to get people's point of views to change. You have to try to benefit yourself while also convincing them that it's a benefit for them. Yeah, we're not seeing that this whole.
Which she did. She was trying to do, but it was just so like quickly shut down.
Yeah,
nobody was. I mean, they were considering it. We did see Kyle really struggling with his decision that he was going to make. And ultimately, he did decide to keep Joe. So I would have loved to see more of kind of the pros and cons list from Kyle being like, this is my reasoning. Maybe we'll get that next episode of the why Joe was kept. I would love to know why. But I do want to talk about at Tribal. We had a very nice moment, a very sweet, emotional moment as Survivor 48 is becoming known for. These very deeply personal feels. Talking about sacrifices, talking about kind of generational sacrifice.
This hurt my heart a little bit because, you know, I come from a home where there was a lot of sacrifices made, where I didn't have the same situations as some of these people, but I feel like I've really connected with Mary. You know, she's there for her mom, and she didn't grow up with, you know, same with Shaheen, and even Camilla like had, you know, touch note on it as well. There's just everybody's why at some point has the same kind of direction, and that's family sacrifice. Like, I'm doing this for my loved ones, and I don't know, it's a lot. These are the moments in Survivor where you're like, damn, like I am crushing somebody's dream to change their family's life. And it does not matter whose name is being written on that parchment. It's still gonna suck. It's still gonna suck.
I mean, you know, and I think it's interesting too, because I saw a tweet from Cedric, and he was saying, you know, when you're there filming and you're there playing Survivor, it's not something that you think about at first, but it becomes crushingly obvious when you're there that there's no music, there's no background drums, no suspenseful camera angles, there's no zoom-ins on Jeff, no captions. You are just there in silence, talking to Jeff Probst about to crush someone's dream. So we get all the drums and the dramatics at home, but it's so interesting to see, like, you're sitting there in silence in Fiji, in the jungle, with torches, Jeff Probst, and someone's talking about how their parents sacrificed everything to come to America and, give them a beautiful life, and they're playing Survivor because of that. And then it's like, okay, Mary, you're going home.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It's insane.
Oh my God, my soul. Like, I can't.
Talk about the flip of a freaking switch.
Yeah, no, literally. It's like, wow, that is beautiful. Go home.
I did write down that I noticed that Shaheen said the word, "This is Survivor," probably that phrase, probably 500 times within that tribal council. And I just like, oh my, I don't know if you noticed things like that, but
I didn't notice it this time. The phrase that stuck with me is that your perception isn't always reality. And I feel like that is how I would summarize the editing of this season. Mm-hmm. Our perception as an audience of what's going to happen is not always reality, and has not been this whole season. So
lock that gag.
They need a reality check,
mama.
No. So, we were still going back and forth. At this point, I still had hope that maybe it was going to be a Joe blindside. And I love Joe, don't get me wrong. I sound like a massive Joe hater. I'm not. I think Joe is a great man. I think he has had a very compelling storyline this season. Mm-hmm. I am just a whore for drama. I want the drama. And I feel like the reason we're not getting any is because Joe has been this like stopper in the drama all season.
Yeah.
And, it was partially David, which we'll come back to David.
Do we have to?
We have to.
Oh my God. Why did I feel like he was so like, this was just too much.
I thought he was about to leave. Like, oh my God, I can't roll my chair in. Oh my God. We had Star go home last week, which was literally the biggest dent in the armor. Heartbreaking. And now we have Mary, who also had extremely entertaining confessionals and opinions while she was out on the island. So I am sad to see her go. Episode 11 episodes. It's tough to be cut at 7, I feel like, right before the end. And I'm going to miss her. I'm going to miss what she brought.
I just feel like for her and Say, as much as they like didn't get along and then got along and then didn't get along, I feel like they had such similar qualities, which low key, two girls who are from Philly have in common. I feel like they were really unafraid to speak their mind, and they had a slight filter, but nothing that was going to really stop them from potentially getting like a side eye or like, what the hell did this girl just say? Like, they just said what they wanted to say.
Call a bitch out on the carpet, it's this whole season has been just a back and forth of tiptoeing and kind of like beating around the bush of gameplay. I feel like a lot of these people, and this puts some things into perspective for me. There was somebody that put on TikTok or Twitter why they might be playing the way that they're playing is because the last season that they watched before they left was season 46 with what was her name? Charlie and Maria.
Yeah.
Charlie and Maria, who these duos, the reason that none of them want to separate on their duo is because when they put them on the jury, Maria didn't vote for her duo. So everybody's like, I feel like these duos don't want to break because they're scared they're not going to get their jury vote if they burn the bridge. Which I'm like, okay, that does put a few things into perspective, but I'm like, Mary's not duos with Joe. So Camilla isn't duoed with Joe, so it was just interesting to me, especially with Kyle and Camilla, because Kyle is like, Camilla's my girl, Camilla, but he really hasn't done anything other than the vote where David wanted her out to really kind of push this narrative that they are a working unit. Because I have a feeling when they if either of them get to the end, they're going to have no paper trail of their partnership and people might not believe them that they really were working till the end.
I'm thinking that Kyle's going to have to throw her under the bus and say that the only reason that she was safe is because I gave her all the knowledge on every vote. She voted right every single time because of me. I'm the reason that she's like, I think that if Kyle and Camilla get to the end together, I think that Kyle is going to be the one to benefit from that duo making it that far. I think Camilla would be the one burned in that situation.
I think so too. I mean, we've seen Kyle discuss Camilla as kind of a springboard for ideas. So I do think, but seeing how Kyle's been behaving and not wanting to blindside Joe, we're talking about it as if he's going to burn her. He won't.
Yeah,
He'll be like, we did this together, so pick one of us. But I'm sorry, you cannot have your number one next to you at the end because you're sharing all of your successes. You are sharing all of your failures, even if they're not yours. If we're in the end together, we worked all season together, and your loud, rowdy mouth or whatever it is that season that rubs people the wrong way, theoretically, I'm now getting blamed for that as well because we were linked, you know? So it's like you want to cut that tie right before the end. Usually, but I don't know. This season, you know, the jury might appreciate that. I don't know.
I'm really hoping we don't see a duo make it to the end, unless it's the Camilla and Kyle, because the public does not know that they're a duo. Only us as a viewer. Like,
they're gonna be giving I'm 59 and I beat all your asses, you know. So
and clock the gag.
Yes, we didn't even mention that Sue is not here this week. Oh my goodness.
Our mother is celebrating Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. So
happy Mother's Day, everybody. The Tsunami Nation, everybody. Tides rise.
Yes.
You know,
Sue is not with us this week. She's here in spirit. It is Mother's Day weekend. So, you know, we let her
gave her the week off. Also, I'm so happy to be back on my own podcast with my co-host.
Yes.
I've been gone.
I missed you.
Listen, I was out here acting like Boo Boo the Fool. So you guys,
Josh was getting Boo Boo the Fool down, busy with work, and it's just crazy. It's been like 2 weeks. We missed last week because, you know, life happens, people.
It was Easter. We were celebrating holidays.
Yes, Easter happened, and it's just, you know.
Was it Easter last week?
No, 2 weekends ago was Easter.
2 weeks ago was. Listen,
look, and to be honest with you,
and I moved. We have a new reality check studio in the works. On her way.
Yes.
We have some great things planned for you.
Not for nothing. This season, you know, there's not much to talk about. So,
and on that note,
any notes, any final comments about the episode? Oh my God, David! We didn't even talk about David.
Oh my God,
David. Oh my God.
Do we have to talk about him?
There was like a split second in me.
Hot or cringe, that's it.
No. There was a split second in me that was like, I get up, leave, get up and leave, get up and leave, get up and leave. I wanted him to leave just out of like disappointment of the people for not blindsiding Joe or making a move and just being like, I can't even watch this.
I know the minute that those bitches got back to Ponderosa, they were talking shit.
Oh, they were cracking up. But you know what? That great tank top.
No, there's no amount of muscle on David that can make me justify that cringy ass stand up.
I hate that my body just has an uncontrollable reaction to this man. Yeah, you actually do it pretty good. Honestly, you know, this season we needed a meme-worthy moment. We had 2 really big memes this season of Mitch going.
And that wasn't even on the island.
And now David's standing. So I love all of these memes that have come out with David. Like, if I send you this, it means I respect you. If I send you this, it means we're out of milk. Like, but
any last
funny, you know?
Do you have any last words for our girl Mary, our last Philly girl on the island?
We've met you. We love you. We're so excited to have you on the show one day. And I think on any other season, you know, had you been dealt a different hand, things might have been different for you because I think you are a good game player. You just didn't have people that wanted to play, unfortunately.
That part ×2, pass it, double it to the next person.
Yes, there it goes. So with that, this has been your reality check on Survivor 48, episode 11. We've got, I think, 2 episodes left until the end because the last episode's always a 2-hour or a split finale, which we did last season. So it's time to make the prediction. It's time for the prediction, Josh.
Who do we
Who
think
is going to be in those 3 stools?
I think that it's going to be Kyle, Joe, Eva.
Okay.
I don't want it to be.
Yeah. I have 2 predictions. I have 2. It's either going to be that, what you just said, Kyle, Joe, and Eva, or hear me out. It's going to be because somebody has to do fire. So I'm thinking that it could be Kyle, Shaheen, and Joe at the end.
You think
or
guys?
Or Kyle, yeah, because I think it could be. I think, methinks, one of the 2, Joe and Eva, are gonna have to do fire.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm feeling that in my soul, but I am. And I think they're gonna lose, whichever one it is. I don't know why, but I think it's gonna be Eva. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm gonna say.
I think.
It's not gonna be Mitch. I'll tell you that.
I think Joe's gonna be like, I'm a fireman. I got this. I'm gonna go to fire. I think he might try to stop. Like, I think he might.
Maybe they put Joe and Eva in fire.
I could see Joe taking out. I could see Joe taking out Mitch in the fire, and I can see it being like a Joe. I think that would secure the Joe, Eva, Kyle 3. I think Camilla will be next out, and then Shaheen.
You think they're gonna keep Mitch till the end?
I think that they're going to keep Mitch to the end.
I don't know. I really see Camilla. If anybody is bringing a goat, I see them bringing Camilla because nobody really is looking at her. She's never even, other than when David wanted her out, hasn't even really been considered as a target.
That is true.
I don't know. I am really excited to see how it unfolds. And I really hope that somehow, some way, we break up this Joe and Eva duo before the end. Mark my words, they're gonna blindside her. It's gonna happen, or she loses in fire.
So many possibilities. So many possibilities.
So many. Too many. But
too many.
As always, we will see you back next week to discuss Survivor 48, episode 12, the final 6. It is officially the sprint for the $1 million check. Kyle, we are rooting for you.
Yes, we are.
Camilla, we are rooting for you. Everybody, we are rooting for you. But Kyle, you've been on my fantasy league since week 1. Okay, to win, and I'm getting those bracketology points every week from you. So thank you.
I know that's right.
Thank you. And yeah, we will see you next time. Be sure to leave a comment down below who you're rooting for that $1 million check. We will see you back next week with Sue back in the studio, and we look forward to seeing you there. So like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.